Hello and welcome to Microsoft's Flight Simulator or Flight Simulator 2020. This is a title I've been waiting to play for quite a long time, and now it is fully released. So over the next few videos I'm going to be doing a bit of a first impressions review, as I generally do, of add-ons or general titles that I play for the first time. And the one question I have after having played this for about 2 hours, and I'm sure many of you might have similar questions, is how good is this title? Does it live up to the hype? And if it does not, why? So the biggest question, and you'll see this on the title, is this in its current form, and I say this with absolute importance, in its current form as I'm recording this, is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 a masterpiece or a rushed release? Stay tuned to find out. So here I am ready to go. So once you are in the title, you can go ahead and when you click on this here, world map, you can go ahead and select your flight. I'm going to select my flight today from Echo Golf November Mike, Leeds Bradford. Live weather by going to flight conditions and clicking live weather. I will be changing that at some point, and we are going to explore in the Cessna 172 Skyhawk today. We're going to be flying over the Peak District, getting a feel for the physics, especially the ones that come, the updrafts that come off the rolling hills and things like that. Getting a look at the mesh, the graphics, of course, of the aircraft, the weather, the textures, the sounds, just everything we can, and let's see what we can do. So I'm ready to go. I'm going to press fly. Now the loading in this title, when you start it up, it does take a little while to load right at the beginning, but then it's okay. After that it seems to be fairly okay, not too much in the way of issues. As you can see, the loading here is fairly fast. Hopefully the weather is decent. I have set up my controls, I have head tracking on. I'm going to test all of that and let's see what happens. I will also be talking about bugs that I have encountered over the past I've only played this for about 2 hours before making this video, so there are quite a few bugs I've encountered, but there's also quite a lot of nice things that I've encountered, so they sort of even themselves out. But that is also why I've named the title as it is. Rushed release or masterpiece? Plus it rhymes. All of this is also being streamed in, so I know I'm talking over this loading, but I want you to see how long it takes to load one of these. I'm running this on a Intel i7-10700K running at 5 GHz. So that just gives you an idea as to what I'm running, and I have an NVIDIA RTX 2070. Okay, so here we are. Looks like we are ready to go. It is raining, so that is a good sign to what we can see. That sound right there was the autopilot. Now, let's have a quick look to make sure everything is okay. Fuel pump needs to go on. Pitot heat, where does this have our temperature? Where do we have the temperatures on the Cessna? Anybody? Can anybody tell me? Oh, maybe it's written on these displays actually now. They'll probably be on this display somewhere. Temperature. No, surprisingly not. Okay, well I'm going to assume it's still fairly alright. Right, let's bring this up. Now, having a look on the ground already, that is very, very realistic. I really like the textures there. They are very realistic. I'm a bit curious as to why the... Well, that's interesting. It looks... Is that actually the air coming off the... That might actually be the prop wash pushing the rain back. That is a really nice detail there. That is a really, really nice detail. Yes, it is. It is that. Okay. Good to bring that down. I know I haven't taken off yet. I'm just taking a look at everything. Radio brightness is there. Let's bring the glare shield up just a bit. And we'll switch the panel brightness on a little bit as well. Flaps seem to be working. Not a problem. I'm going to leave them at 10. Taxi light does not need to be on, but you can see it is there. We have the landing light on. Everything else is on. Pitot heat I am going to switch on just for the sake of it. I will go through this once we are up in the air, but for now I just want to see the takeoff. I want to see what this is like. I'm also going to actually dial in 115.7. There we go. That is going to be the Trent VOR. So we should be able to pick that up and head straight into towards Trent. So let's zoom in a little bit. As I said, head tracking seems to be working all right. Let's take off and see what Flight Simulator is all about. We have a very, very slight wind, of course. You can actually see it moving on the windsock, but it is almost a headwind. So nothing much to worry about there. 60 knots, I think I can rotate the aircraft here. There we go. Very nice. Let's try and get ourselves into a climb for about 80 knots as we climb up. Flaps can come in. Now, for first impressions, this is interesting to say the least. The live weather is, well, fairly correct. It has been raining in the United Kingdom quite a bit. But of course that does mean it is not easy to see the ground. But as I said, I will be changing the weather out. Let's sit around 2000. In fact, let's sit around here for now, just so we can have a look at the ground with this weather. So one of the biggest things I think Flight Simulator 2020 does is weather effects. And you can see here they have really pulled it off nicely. If I move forward and have a look around, they have really pulled this off nicely. So that's the first positive already for them. They have worked hard on these weather effects, and of course they've got the AI generated cities. So this is not a custom city, this is Leeds or Bradford, one or the other. And it is completely generated by looking at I think it's the Bing Maps, or the engine that powers the Bing Maps. Let's head in that direction and then we'll see from there what we have. Let's also trim ourselves fairly nicely for roughly 2,000 feet. We're going to constantly have to manage this. There we go. Seems okay. So every building, or I'd say 95% of the buildings are in the sim. So whatever you have in real life, I'd say 95 to 98% of that is in the sim. Now they are not perfectly accurate, so if you're looking for your house in absolute precision, I'm sorry, you are not going to get that, unfortunately. But they are fairly close. Now I did take a look in one of my tests at my old school, and it was about 2 stories too big, so it did not look like my old school, but it was the right shape. It was the right shape. Now there are some mistakes, of course. My house is in the sim and it was pretty much the right shape. The flats that are nearby, they were the right shape. So everything did look okay there. I know I'm just sitting around in clouds, but I do want to experience a little bit of this with this foggy, cloudy weather. Now I would like to see if this is accurate to to what it actually is at the moment. So I'm going to pull up. I'm going to actually pull up the METAR for Echo Golf November Mike. If I pull that up, that should give me the exact information. Right. The winds were 11 knots from the east, so it was 100 at 11 knots. I had 139 at 13. Okay. We had humidity 100% fine. Visibility 7,000 meters. I think the visibility is a bit lower than that there. Temperature was 17 degrees Celsius. Few clouds at 700 feet. Broken clouds at 1,000 feet. Light rain. So it is roughly correct. It is roughly correct. And it is interesting for me to be able to see this and experience this. I am of course flying in the base of the cloud. You've probably noticed that I am flying in the base of the cloud right now. So far so good. So far so good in terms of visuals. I am going to obviously swap this around shortly to scattered clouds or something like that, and then we'll explore from there. And I know I'm just doing a circle, but I'm going to fly back over. I'm planning to fly back over Leeds, which is in this direction, I believe. And then from there we will go over to the Peak District. So what have I found over the past couple of hours of playing Flight Simulator, and obviously right now? Weather is, as I said, something they've worked on massively, and in terms of graphics, the graphics quality in Flight Simulator is nothing short of stunning. But there is something, and I am going to show you very soon, that is quite annoying, and I know there is a solution to this. It is just a matter of how easy is it to put this solution through. Should we change the weather? Let's go ahead and change the weather. So this is a nice time for me to talk about this control bar at the top here. So this toolbar you can customize by switching things on and off here. What do we have? We have ATC, which I have disabled for this video, so I've just got that switched off. We have our camera controls. I will show you that once we are in clearer air. We have checklists. This is probably one of the best things about Microsoft Flight Simulator, all these built-in checklists. We have basic controls. It has my stick. I'm not sure exactly what that is supposed to do or what that's supposed to tell me. We have AI control. So we've got checklist assist, manage radio comms or control the aircraft. We can change fuel on the fly. Apparently there's CO2 emissions and consumption. Not sure if that works. We have our nav log, which I'm not using at the moment. We have objectives, which is probably going to tell me climb to 500 feet. There you go. We have travel to, though we do not have a flight plan, so we cannot do that. We have our VFR map, which is probably fairly useful. If I am honest, that's going to be fairly useful overall. And then we have our weather selector here, so I'm going to switch from live weather to scattered clouds. There you go, and now you can see where we were flying. So we're going to run in scattered clouds for the rest of this, just so that you have a better idea of what you can see in this. It was a bit dark. So we're going to fly over, once again we will fly over Leeds, this time gaining some altitude, and then we are going to head outwards. Now I need to, that's fine. Now one of the things I would like to see here is this altimeter calibration knob is reading 29 and 902. I want that in millibars. I need that in millibars. I will now switch off the fuel pump. There we go. But yes, I do need that in millibars. That would be quite useful. And we will be trying the autopilot at some point. So there you go. That is what we have. Now you can see there's a couple of houses missing there. There's some houses missing in the odd place. but nothing too major. And as I said, every house does look fairly British. If I look out that window, yeah, that's Britain, all right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to activate the autopilot and get us in a... So by clicking here, I'll activate the autopilot. I'm going to switch on heading mode. If I can get this. Come on. Switch on heading mode and let's head west. So I'll switch that. Now it does put it into roll mode initially, which is exactly what it should be. In fact, yes, a westward heading is fine. And I'm going to go for a vertical speed of... Let's put an altitude mode in for 2,500 feet. Vertical speed 300 foot per minute. That should handle it for me. All I now need to do is change the camera to the exterior camera, and let's have a look at what we have outside. So here's the aircraft outside. In fact, I'm going to do the showcase camera, which just gets rid of a few things. I can use head tracking to look around, which is a little bit strange, but I can also use a few different keys to look around the aircraft like that, and then move my head around. So does it look like Britain? Yes, actually it does. It does very much look like Britain. There's nothing... There isn't anything too incorrect about this. You can see the hills. That is where I'm looking to go into. It is fairly good. This is fairly realistic. I probably should look at the control. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause this and look for the control to take screenshots. Keyboard, search by name, screen. No, apparently it does not tell you. Well, that's actually no. Let's not do assigned or screenshot. No. Photo. No. Drone. Let's see. No. Okay. So apparently it doesn't tell us how to take screenshots. I'm going to just press the print screen key. See if that does it. Now you can see from out here there is a bit of wobbling on the aircraft. It is wobbling quite a bit, particularly in yaw, and I'm not sure if that is wholly accurate. But then that just could be the physics of the default aircraft. Of course, it is not going to be the best aircraft that you're going to get. That is what the third party are all for. But it does look rather remarkable. I think you will admit that this looks quite remarkable here. Let's go back inside. Let's go back inside and we will set ourselves off to... Let's head... In fact, west is pretty good. Let's pull up a VFR map and see where we are headed. So what I really need to be doing is I need to be heading downwards. And that is where my destination is. So from here, if I head into the hills and then down, and we'll follow that all the way down, we've got Trent. So this is a good time for us to check if this works as well. I would like to... do I want to join Trent all the way down? No, I would like to join Trent coming in 330. So let's have a look if this works. So if I set that for 330, there we go. That should now go into the middle when I am about here, and then I shall follow that in all the way. That is the theory anyway. As I said, weather-wise, scenery-wise, this looks great, but there is something else that we need to take a look at. Before we take a look at that though, I am going to go through some of the physics on this. What do I like about the physics, or what do I not like? Well, it does feel just a little bit sluggish. especially on the throttles. At least it did earlier. Right now it seems to be okay. Now it is a little bit sluggish. You can just see that movement. I'm moving it faster than that, so it slows it down for you. Now I have all the settings on as hard as it gets, or as real as it gets, apart from the fact that I switched ATC off. So we have everything pretty much as you would expect. This is as good as it is going to get, or as realistic as it is going to get at this particular point in time. Now you can see the movement of the aircraft there. If I just keep my head completely still, so you can see that shaking. It is a little bit more than I would have expected. It is just a little bit more than I would have expected. But if that is how the real aircraft is, then sure. Looking down, if you have a look at the main roads there, you can see that there are cars. Just look there, along there, not the moving cars, but there are splodges of cars that were parked or driving at the time that the photo was taken, the satellite imagery. So you see it there, all along there. Look, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you can see my mouse along that road. You'll see plenty on this road. There you go, look at that. And that does somewhat harm the immersion when you're looking around. What they could do is they could take Orbex's idea of overlaying the roads on top of it, and see if that works, because that would be quite interesting. So far, I'm sure you are looking at this and thinking, this is fantastic. It really is good, and you are right. It is working at the moment, and it is really, really nice whilst it is working. However, I have had quite a few problems in the two and a half hours almost that I have now played. Thankfully none in this video, but I did do an original video, the first video I did, and there were problems straight away. One of the problems that I encountered: took off and suddenly the entire panel froze. Not failures because of a blocked pitot tube or static port, no, literally every single one of these froze. The GPS froze, all the instruments, the nav instruments, the RPM indicator, even the flaps controls. I could not move the flaps. So that is a bug that occurred. There is also a bug that I can actually reproduce quite well with what is called active pause. I will do that once we are in a clearer area. Also, I'm now going to climb to 3,000 feet. There we go. And I want it to be 500 foot per minute. Give us the climb. 3,000 feet we go. Lovely. Give it a bit more throttle. So yes, when it is running, it is magnificent, but it is those bugs that I will be showing you, and I have now talked about, or talked about one, that is mildly concerning. I've had one where the game has just randomly crashed on me for no apparent reason. I have had one where I have come into in fact this very aircraft, went into an external camera, came back in, and everything disappeared. So all those were black. The glare shield was some low poly glare shield, as if it did not know how to load it in. That is what happened there. So I have come across some of these issues. And they are mildly concerning. Of course, this is why I'm talking about this title in this current form. What is it like right now? So problems. I've had the problems with the bugs. I've had problems with the game crashing. I've had one where it's taken forever to load already. I'm not sure what was on with that. I'm not overtly keen on the... I'm not keen on the having to have to be signed in all the time. So there is that, but that is just something we have to deal with. Here we go. Now I can explain one of the texture issues. I'm going to turn heading up. Turn 240, and I should be able to explain. In fact, I'm hoping you guys can already see that line across there going into the Peak District, Pennines. Now, so all of this is seemingly okay. You can see all of this is quite all right on that side. In fact, is this all right on that side? It seems to be okay-ish on that side as well. But you notice that the colour seemingly is just suddenly changed here. Look at that. And it's that colour change that is what I'm talking about. Very jarring. So what has happened here is clearly the satellite imagery has been taken at 2 different points in time, or with 2 different types of camera, or something like that. And we end up with this very, very unsightly line right here. Now which one's the true colour? That one or that one? That is the question. And this is not the only place that has it. There are a lot of places that actually have this issue. So flying over the hills, or flying into the hills now, I'm planning to go, I would say, over that and then turn in. It depends on what the nav instrument says, and then we'll fly down. In fact, let's go for... Let's do a partial one now. Let's do like a sort of an L-shaped one. I know I want 240, so let's go 330 inbound. So let's do that. Now there you go, there's another one. That one is really, really obvious. There is a square tile in the middle of this. Now I know that this is Bing Maps and somebody's going to say, well, it's better than what we have. Yes, it is better than what we have, but there is a way to color grade these. You can create a system, you can create a program that will color grade these and say, okay, what is the color supposed to be? Let's match all of those that look like they're off in those colors and do it. I know it can be done in Photoshop, for starters, with tiles. And if it can be done in Photoshop, you can program it in. It can be programmed in. And Asobo Studios, Microsoft have the ability. They've got their Azure platform. They have cloud computing to do this. And actually not only put it in Flight Simulator, but for their Bing Maps as well. It's actually quite nice. Aside from that, things look really, really lovely. That much is for certain. Should we have a look at the VFR map, see where we are? There we are, we are there. I think I should probably turn in now. I'm going to press nav and see what happens. Nav. It does it the opposite way. Of course it does. It's going to go away from there. That's fine. I will switch it around to... We'll go turn inbound. I want it to go 2. There we go. That was my mistake. Not a simulator issue. That was completely and utterly my mistake. So, there we go. We're turning in. You can see the reflections, and it does look okay. It does look okay. In fact, it looks better than okay. I am impressed with all of this, but obviously the few issues that I have now come across within 2 hours is concerning. Weather-wise, lovely. The clouds are really nice. However, there is a weird... Let me switch my head tracking off. There you go, you can see that. Look at the edge of the cloud. I'm not sure if YouTube is rendering this properly, but look at the edge of the clouds everywhere. They're strange. They're really strange. It's as if somebody has a CRT monitor and has cut lines across them. So again, it feels buggy in that sense, as if they maybe did not bother looking into that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video here with the first part of the first impressions. In the next part, we're going to try and stall the aircraft, do a bit more tests on the physics. I'll do some steeper turns, sharp climbs, descents, things like that, and then we will land it at East Midlands Airport, and I will give you the next part of my thoughts of what I see with Microsoft Flight Simulator. Is it a masterpiece, or is it a rushed release? Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Flight Simulator 2020, leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think. Don't forget to support me on Patreon, www.patreon.com/ecgadgets. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really help me out. Also, I'm just a little bit confused as to where that was going. Okay, it sorted itself out. There we go. Lovely. And also, you can find me on social media at ecgadgetslp for both Twitter and Instagram, unless I already said that. That is all from me, and I will see you next time in Flight Simulator 2020 for the second part of my review.